January. Man, time flies when you're having fun, Guy. We are at that last week of January, moving into the first week of February. And we hope everybody's been holding strong. We're going into Monday sprint planning. This is all about making our plan, executing our plan, so we can get to where we're going. So, Guy, what I want to do is I'm just going to throw it over to you. I know we've got a topic we want to go through. Typically, we'll talk about a topic. We'll open this up for any Q&A, and then we'll sort of get started on our week. I know that we don't just wait till right now to start our planning. You and I have already planned. We've already gone through our plan. We've already been on calls today, and it's just a matter of jumping in and going through this to make sure everybody stays relentlessly consistent with making their plan and executing it on a weekly and daily basis.
Making sure you're following your system, making sure you're working to get results that you're wanting to go towards. I think for just the quick topic that we want to talk about today is network and community, right? It's hot buzzwords, especially out there being where 2020 happened, 2021 happened. A lot of people had to be at home, they had to isolate themselves, and they were still looking for how can we network and how can we have a community and grow together. And a lot of networks and communities are based on someone being out there, being a face of their community and building within their network. I think LFI is a heck of a platform to grow community, to grow network, not only from us here at corporate, but from each one of our individuals that utilize this on a daily basis and be able to get this information out to others, but be able to say, hey, we're here to grow business. We're here to have conversations and understand that people were hit with downtimes, and some actually really grew based on knowing that the world is changing, the world is evolving, and we're running businesses from here now. This darn background's not going to allow me to show my screen, but I mean, to know that community is something we're all about here. We're about jumping in every day and having just different conversations on what that looks like, and asking people, are they really building their community? Are they making an effort to do it? Or are they sitting on their laurels and saying that it was things will work how they used to work? And I believe that things will continue to do what they did in the past, even though we already know if you do things over and over again, it's a sign of going insane. And also that today it's just a different world.
Well, I think going on your topic today with networking community, to your point, right? 2020 happens, 2021 happens, and everything we thought we knew about networking and community gets disrupted. Guy, I know we talk a lot about the digital age, and everything is changing and going more and more digital. In fact, I had heard a quote just today that Bill Gates had said a lot of business meetings will be happening in the metaverse in the future. And if we look back at 2020, Zoom, the platform we're on right now, saw its biggest growth phase in 2020 when everybody got disrupted and had to network online. And I think that networking and community, Guy, to your point, are so powerful. And we all should be doing our individual parts to participate in that, because that's what makes up a community. That's what makes up a network. It's everybody who's involved working collectively together for the benefit of each other. And that's really why we host these types of meetings 5 times a week, 1 hour a day, every day, to come to our community, to offer that guidance, to offer that support, to help each other, and to learn. We get just as much out of community involvement as part of the LFI community as we hope that you guys get from joining these conversations. And again, some people may be on for a long time. They've been with us since the very beginning. Some people, this may be your first time joining. Welcome to the community. And we hope that you're going to learn a lot that will help you and your business grow and thrive.
But to grow a network, to grow a community, we all know that there takes, you have to be authentic. You have to be real in the conversations that you're going to have. You have to be someone that's not in it for yourself, because obviously you're not going to build a community if it's about you. But if you're about others, if you're about support, if you're about helping, bringing someone into the fold and saying, hey, 2020 happened, 2021 happened. There's just a different way things are going in business. Providing that to them, understanding that in order for your community to grow, you've got to be authentic. And you've got to make sure that those relationships are fostered, they're built, there's outreach. And again, don't rest on the laurels that your network and your community is going to stay your network and your community if you don't have those types of outreach.
Well, and Guy, I know you and I have talked about it to some extent. Part of the technology is securitizing your network.
Absolutely.
As we all know, relationships come and go. We've seen lots of companies and businesses, Guy, who are brands that have used this technology and they've gone by the wayside, and those networks have disbanded and gone other places. And one of the things that's very hard for us to watch others go through is the person who had a network, and then all of a sudden that network is no longer, and it's disbanded. And because they didn't effectively manage that network, because they didn't create a community around that network, they were starting from ground zero all over again. And we've seen people who've done that maybe 2, 3, 4 times. And again, back to your definition of insanity, that's doing the same thing and expecting a different result. Guys, if you want a different result, you need to plug in to what the future of networking is, what the future of community is, and really immerse yourself in this. And then to Guy, your point, bringing others and helping others join that community, become part of that community, introducing them. You heard about this community because somebody you know shared it with you. It was just that simple. Maybe there was something they said that was intriguing to you. Maybe it was something that was a goal that you had. I want to do this within my business. And the LFI network and the LFI community was a path that you saw that could get you there. That is our intent. We want to support the success of every member of our community so that you achieve and solve the problems that you're working on.
You know, from that securitization aspect of your network, and let's separate the two, network and community. Is network is getting eyeballs, getting people to join. If it's in a relationship marketing aspect, you're out there trying to get people to join your team, either from a customer base or from running the opportunity. If it's from just doing your 9 to 5, you have a new network of people. You have maybe your boss, maybe your supervisor, maybe someone is working underneath you. You've got a network, but what does the community look like? And that's so huge, because in some instances, you build a network, and to your point, ER, it goes by the wayside. Maybe a corporate opportunity goes away, or it sells, or it does something totally different. And the network goes away because community wasn't built around them. It wasn't the support. It wasn't the platform to say, hey, this is how we work. This is how we do business. And work is the 4-letter word a lot of people don't like to do, knowing that that's the only thing that's going to receive results. But the community is here to support you in doing that work, and how to get information out to others, and what type of conversations to have, and to make sure that when you're building community, you're building your authentic self to be the best version of yourself, to be the best version of what you want to provide to your community.
Yeah, Guy, I feel like we are so blessed to have built an amazing network within LFI. But what I love more than anything else is the LFI community. And going along the words that you're talking about, when I get to see familiar faces, right? I see Brittany just popped on. Hey, Brittany, it's so good to see you. That's part of community. You know what I mean? In fact, Brittany, when we were out in October and met each other face to face, you said, look, ER, you shouldn't do your back exercises in the evening. You should do them in the morning. And as a functional therapist, that rang true to me. I will tell you what, since coming back, I've consistently done it in the morning versus the evening, because I appreciate the guidance of somebody with more knowledge than me about the subject that I learned from the community, right? Of each other helping each other. And Guy, one of the other things I really like is when you have a community, people come and go, but it's awesome when they start to come back. And we see this time and time again. We might not hear from somebody for a month or 2 months or 3 months, maybe even longer. And maybe you've experienced this in your own business, but when you develop community and you develop a relationship, it's so amazing when those relationships come back and you pick up and you catch up and you do all of those things. It's not always about business. Sure, there's an underlying undertone that we're all in here to increase our revenue streams. We're all in here to find ways to get more leads or generate more customers. But having that underlying thread allows us all collectively to come together as a community and help each other out. And I think that's why we have these different types of calls throughout the week, Guy, right? For here, the call focus is really about making our plan. We're firm believers, if you don't have a plan in writing, you're not going to get to where you're going. But on other ends, we know the community needs to understand how to be prepared to execute their plan. And part of that preparation is learning how to use the tools, right? You want to know how to use Shuffle. You want to get everything you can out of the technology. Likewise, with Mindset of a Champion on Wednesdays, when we're talking about what are the business skill sets we need, what are the mindset skills that we need to really accelerate and perform at the top of our game. Community types of conversations that are roundtable or mastermind on Thursday, where we can collectively solve each other's problems, right? There's nothing like having a bunch of minds working on one problem to come up with creative solutions. And then our Friday with the Founders, Guy, I know you and I look forward to that every single week when the community comes together and we get a chance to, again, talk with each other, celebrate successes, share tips and tricks. All of those things are more focused in my mind on the community that, you know, is within the LFI network and those relationships. We don't have everybody in our network on every one of these calls by any means. We don't have those people engaged fully in the community. We wish they would, because we think that they would get 1,000 times more benefit out of it. And I know that anybody who's participated as part of this community will attest to that.
Right. And that is our dedication, especially really this year is really building upon this community from the aspect of making sure we have those one-off conversations, making sure we're reaching out individually to people to just see how they're doing, and being able to provide basically a case study out there on how we do it, but how it can be utilized by each individual. We all know that there's a ton of people out there that are gurus in networking. They're gurus in conversations and those different types of things. And a lot of times you have to pay a lot of money to go to those. With ours, it's just being joined into our community. We're allowing people not even on LFI platform to come in and just have conversations with us to see that there's value here, that you're going to grow your network based on your communication, based on the value that you provide to them. And that's why some of these gurus do so well, is because they provide value. But when I'm buying that ticket, I've got to do work when I leave that event. I can't, a lot of things 24 hours later, 48 hours later, it's gone by the wayside, and it's implementation. So being able to, your point, you basically just said everything, every element of our trainings that we do throughout the week. We're on our sprint planning right now, making sure we have something in writing that I'm going to be doing at a high level for the week, but what I have to win every day to reach that high level goal. And goals are made to be reached. They're made to be blown through. Make sure when you're setting a goal that you don't put it so small that you reach it and you just sit there. Because, from an income aspect, some people want to make $1,000, some want to make 10, 100, whatever that is, that when you reach that, there's so many times, and we see it in networks where it stops because you stop doing what got you there.
Was that the plateau of satisfaction, Guy? You know what I mean? You just get to that point and you're like, hey, all right, I achieved my goal. And I've been susceptible of this myself,
Mm-hmm.
You get there.
But that's the plateau of satisfaction. But so many people get caught in that valley of despair. So we're using words, we're using concepts from the Atomic Habits book. Yeah. James Clear wrote it. It's a great book. We talk about it almost every conversation we had, just because that message resonates with us. And I believe it resonates with anyone who picks it up, reads it, gets it on Audible. ER affiliate of Audible can be out there sharing the book. And if you purchase, you become an Audible user, ER is going to get a piece of inviting you to it. That's where our world is going to, right? There's so many acronyms out there. There's so many platforms, Web 3.0, cryptocurrency, blockchain, all these types of things are community driven. Yeah, maybe there's going to be bubbles in them, but they're growing so fast because there's so much conversation about it. And they're going to win based on having a community and based on bringing value and making sure that, if LFI is going to be in everyone's hands across, the United States or across the world, it's going to be based on you providing value to your network to say, join a community that's going to show you this is what you should be looking at from a daily basis. We're not going to say we're going to hold your feet to the fire to do it, but we're providing a platform that's going to allow you to do step by step to reach potential goals that you've set for yourself. But you're going to stay in the valley of despair as long as you don't do anything, as long as you only talk to one or two people, and maybe one or two people don't want to be a part of your network or a part of your community. It's about having those consistent relationships or consistent communication with people, because there are times, and I know you hear about it in network marketing. I talked to this person for 5 years and then they finally join and they're like, why didn't you talk to me about this? Well, I did, but I stayed relentless to my communication. There's a piece within our application, following up, making sure that you're consistent with your follow-ups. Don't just do it one time. 50% of people never do it a single time. So to know that business is really done between that 5th and 12th follow-up, that doesn't mean when I get to 5, I'm going to stop. I'm going to keep going until we have conversations, and then the work really begins. Then the community really grows, because I'm not going to say, hey, I got somebody signed up for company ABC and I just made a commission on it. No, it's not about you making a commission. It's about you helping that person. It's about you getting them to implement something that is going to advance them to be able to go build a network and bring somebody into the fold of community. Kathy does amazing trainings, Tech Tuesdays at 2. And for anyone, that's 2 p.m. Central. So make sure you adjust. That's going to be tomorrow. Kathy does phenomenal training on our platform and how it can be implemented in your daily life to go out and talk to your customers and your clients and your potential team members to say, hey, come into the fold and be a part of this. ER, you mentioned Wednesday with Michael and Edwin, those business tools, those business conversations, how to have a conversation. There's so many companies out there that provide you scripts. Well, those scripts are based on the 1 or 2 or 3 people at corporate. Hey, get the message out about us. Get the message out about you and how it's helped you and what things have helped you that can help someone else. Then we get into our Thursday, our roundtable. ER holds roundtables. Those are open discussions. They can be on any topic. And we just pull topics. There might be a quote that we see that day, and that might be what the topic is about because it resonates with us and how it can potentially resonate with the community. Friday at 10 a.m. Mountain, we get into our retrospective, essentially, our Friday with the founders. It's how has the week been? How can we support? Where did you see downtimes? It is more of that open community. It's more for the affiliate aspect on running your business as an affiliate, but running the LFI business and saying, hey, when I get more people the information about being a part of this community, I'm bringing value to them because I'm a real person. I'm authentic, but here's a community that I believe is second to none in being authentic. You talk about networking groups, right? There's whatever acronym of a networking group, there's probably one out there. And a lot of it is hey, we need more people in our network to be paying our monthly subscription so we can continue to provide the breakfast at 7 a.m. for people, or that we can continue to do these types of things. And being able to sit there and have conversations, but to know that those are fine and dandy if that's what you're going to be doing, but to know that so much happened based on these last couple of years and based on technology, where it is today and where it is going, that networking community needs to start here on your phone, so then you can take it offline, right? There's going to be so many networks and communities built online that then there's the potential of, we meet Brittany in October, we meet those type of individuals, where then it just digs in even more and shows the value of a community even more.
Yeah, and I think there's a trap that people get into, Guy, right? It's, we want to collect names, or we want to collect friends, right? Like, remember when MySpace first came out, you know what I mean? Everybody wants to collect a friend. I've got more friends than anybody else. Friends have nothing, as that label, the connections have nothing to do with community. Mm-hmm. Community is actually working together to help each other, right? Think about what your definition of community is in your mind. And it's not about building a giant list. It's actually about coming together and working together and positively impacting each other. And that's really something that I think we really want to strive to have everybody accomplish. So, you know, the big question for today is, what are you going to do this week to not only grow your network, but grow your community? And where does that start? And for me, it starts out with introducing yourself to somebody, right? Getting to know somebody. You're not going to meet new people unless you introduce yourself to them. And I think one of the best ways to introduce yourself to people is to share a digital business card. I think that's probably the easiest segue into starting of a relationship. But then once you got their information into, let's say, your Shuffle CRM, you need to work that relationship. You need to have those conversations and those interactions that Guy was talking about, right? And it blows my mind, Guy, that trap number 2, right? Trap number 1 is collecting this big list of names, and we are all susceptible to it. A good a baseline to test if you're just collecting names, or maybe have names you're not working, open up your phone contact list and give it a scroll and see how many. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, there's a number of contacts that you have there. How many do you have? Then I want you to open up your recent call list and take a look at the last few calls you've made over the last 5 days. And I can almost bet that you're going to have the same names sort of showing up on that recent call list. And a lot, probably a majority, 90% of that list from your contact list is not being interacted with. That's not community, right? Community is really building relationship. And that number 2 thing, Guy, that you mentioned, the big trap that statistically a lot of people fall into is there's no interaction. There's no follow-up. 50% of people don't even follow up with somebody a single time, even if they thought they could do business. Could you imagine, you walk in, you meet somebody, you shake hands, you've done all the hard work of introducing yourself and getting over that anxiety, and you walk away and you're like, oh, wow, we could totally do business together. And then you never follow up with each other? You'd have to be crazy to miss out on that lost opportunity. And that's happening 50% of the time. So if you want to help yourself immediately, make sure you do an initial follow-up. At least once, if not at least twice, and ideally 5 to 12 times. To Guy's point, you just want to have continual follow-up, and that 5 to 12 range is really the target. Now it's starting to approach the 11 to 12 times. You really want to be focused on that. Maybe you need to go back through the network that you have right now. I mean, we're still at the beginning of the year. A lot of people are still fired up for 2022, even though we're at the last day of the month, and they want to know what's going on. They still need to do business. They haven't closed out all of their sales for the year, right? Reach out, catch up, see what they're up to. Let them know what you're up to. Start to create community. Right. They're going to ask you what you're up to. You're going to share information with them. You might even invite them to join this community. Again, another opportunity to just engage. So the question, what are you going to do this week to build your network and to build your community? First and foremost, you got to get out there and start introducing yourself to people. Guy, we knew somebody who was always like, hi, my name is so-and-so. What is your name? Right? My name is so-and-so. What is your name? Every time he saw somebody he didn't know, my name is so-and-so. What is your name? Once he got into that habitual habit of doing that with everybody, wow, could he meet a lot of people, you know? And then after you meet somebody, what are you doing? Following up with them, interacting with them, hearing what their story is, hearing where their problems lie, and offering yourself as a value-added benefit to help them solve those problems. It's as simple as that, everybody.
It's building that community. It's being authentic.
Yeah.
Is what it is. It's being authentic with your communication. It's almost that three tiers of, you have a network, you need to build a community, and you do it by being authentic. And is it going to work? It'll work. There's enough research out there. It'll work if you work. If you sit there and you have goals and dreams to be doing something, you're going to have to work towards it. It's not going to be sitting on your hands and sitting in front of the TV. Today's youth are playing video games. And the crazy thing about those video games is they're building community. They're having conversations. A lot of things are done online there. But, what is authentic in those communities? What are people taking offline to have conversations, and understanding that there's a good chance, a heck of a platform that you can be building it through LFI, and giving people a network to join that's all about community, where we're all authentic.
Yeah, I agree. So we talked about, what are you going to do this week to build your network and build your community? I think the other thing, Guy, we can all be thinking about is, what value do you as an individual bring to your community? And are you leaning into that skill set? Are you leaning into that value? Maybe you're a service provider and you have a valuable service that helps and supports your community. Again, we talked about content a few weeks back, Guy. Like, are you setting yourself and positioning yourself as the authority as it comes to your skill set? Are you bringing that knowledge out to your community? A lot of people out there, Guy, you mentioned it, the gurus, they want to charge everybody for the knowledge. But we live in the digital age. If you really want to learn something, all you got to do is Google a little bit, and you can learn as much as you want to learn about anything in the world. But if you can bring value to people, right? And each of us have our own skill set. Each of us have our own values that we've developed over time. If you bring that to your community, there are so many people out there that don't want to go learn X, Y, and Z. Instead, they want somebody who's been there before to be their guide, to offer them themselves as a resource to their community. And when you start doing that, the next time somebody is seeking that resource and asking their community for a referral, who do you think they're going to refer? They're going to refer the person who brings that value. And this is something I know Kathy has talked a lot about when she talks about networking and leveraging Shuffle. And this is one of the things that I love the most, in my opinion, about Shuffle, outside of some of the CRM components and maintaining the relationship, is the ability to empower people to refer me, and for me to be empowered to refer other people, because that's really what networking and community is all about, right? I want somebody who will stake their credibility on introducing me to somebody else, an authentic relationship that's going to help me solve my problems. So lots of community, we see this all the time. Hey, does anybody know an XYZ? I have this issue and I really need to find somebody. And instead of going on to Google and just randomly looking for a provider, a service provider, or a product, they actually ask their community, because they trust that valuable resource, which is community, to give them recommendations. You know what I mean? Just like when we recommend our favorite movie or our favorite restaurant, people trust in that. Oh, you and I like to eat the same thing. That place was so good. Oh, then we've got to check it out. Again, they're going to be asking their community about the services that you provide, and you want to be top of mind when that subject arrives, and you want to empower those people to connect you so that you can offer that value.
I think to just add to this, and then we can ask if anybody wants to bring anything into this, is there's so much happening in technology. There's so many new things that are coming that are being not understood. And to your point, if you want to be an expert at something, they say you have to spend 10,000 hours to become an expert in something. Utilize someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Utilize someone else's expertise, because there's a lot of things out there that are going to give you a 10,000 foot overview, a 500 foot overview, but they make it so it's so simple. Yep. But every message out there on new technology and why it's going to boom and why LFI fits in this so well is it's going to be based on people, on groups, networks that can build community.
Yep.
And if you take a word from this through the rest of the week, hopefully through the rest of 2022 and into the future, is it's all going to be based on community.
Yep. Well, look, Guy, if there aren't any other thoughts or comments from anybody in here, and if you do have some, throw them in the chat or raise your hand and we can call you up and talk. But if there aren't any thoughts, we want everybody to really get a plan together. If you're talking about building your network or building your community, it starts with making a plan. Where are you at? What are you going to do? Are you going to go out and go to a networking event this week? Are you going to attend some online virtual events? Are you doing outreach and follow-up? And have you scheduled that stuff in? Because it's one thing, Guy, for you and I to talk about it. We practice it as well. As soon as we get off this call, we're going in and starting our actions. But if you love the idea of this, but don't put it into practice, it's not going to yield the fruit that you're looking to achieve. And that's really the truth behind all of this. Make a plan, put it down. I'm going to make 10 phone calls today. Or maybe your goal, you need to set the bar a little lower. I need to make 1 phone call today, and then build 2 tomorrow, 3 the next day, whatever it is to get you to start to change and make an effort to go down and implement and put into practice what will yield the results is what you need to do right now. You and I, Guy, we know every day is a gift, right? That's why we call it the present, I always say. And we know that this is what we have in control over right now, right? We can manage what we can manage today, and what we do today will impact the direction we head for tomorrow. And if we're consistent over this, and we've talked about this, at the end of the day, it's not about these game-changing, life-changing events. It's about the repetitive habits that we make as part of our daily action plan. And this is why we think it's so critical that we come on every single Monday. And we're going to do it for every day every Monday this year, 52 times this year. We've done it every week for all of January, guys. We're going to do it for February, for March, for April. Yep. At the end of the year, Guy and I are going to be further along than we were at the start of this year. We're going to be better off for it. We're just inviting you guys to come along and do the same thing, because I know, independent of what you're working on, if you're relentlessly consistent, if you put in those atomic habits, if you lay out your daily method of operation, if you prioritize your time block things like these calls, or when you're going to go out and do your outreach, or when you're going to go out and do your personal health stuff, if you make it a priority to block out time to accomplish those things, you'll get it done. But if you're sitting there with just the idea of it, oh yeah, I got to make that call today, and you don't make it a priority to actually take action on it, you're not going to get the result. So in order to make it a priority, you put it down in writing, you block it in your calendar, all of those types of things. If you haven't blocked 5 calls in your calendar this week, or blocked time to watch the replays of any of those calls, you're missing out. There's a mistake right there that you can change. You have the choice to choose to change that. If you haven't followed up with anybody this week, or go through and review what you did last week, that's part of it. You know what I mean? Review so you can improve. You're missing out. There's an opportunity to get better. And this is what it's all about. It's about progress, not perfection. If you're hearing this for the first time this week because you didn't want to worry about anything with the new year and let January go by the wayside, and you're getting started in February, congratulations. It's no better time than now to start. And we say that each and every day. You get a reset every single day. It doesn't matter what happened yesterday. It was the weekend. I like to will, spill, and refill, make sure I'm prepped for the week, review the previous week, and prepare for this one. Maybe you didn't do that over Sunday. Okay, well, you can still sit down today and make a plan. You can still get up tomorrow and make a change. That's the beauty of what we're talking about here within the LFI community.
Take action on your plan.
Yep.
That's all it is. Take action, build community.
Okay, well, guys, looks like we didn't have a bunch of comments or questions. All of this is pretty much common sense for most all of us.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Again, put it into action. Take massive action and be relentlessly consistent with the action you're taking. I truly believe, and I would guarantee, Guy, that if you take action, the results will come. Okay, depending on what action you're taking and what results you desire. We talked about change over time equals those results. You know, it's also belief plus action equals results. We have so many people who believe in something, but they don't take action, and then they wonder why they didn't get any results. Belief plus action. It's all about action, everybody. All right, guys. Well, it was so good to see everybody. Is that Tom? I see. Hey, Tom.
Good to see you guys.
You as well.
Good to see you too. Looks like you're busy in your day-to-day, but I want to thank you for taking time to join this call. Whoa, look at that, Manifold.
Yeah, it's working on somebody's heat, you know?
Definitely.
I hear you there. I hear you
Hey,
there.
quick.
Yeah, go ahead, Tom.
Just wanted to interject. You're absolutely correct. I mean, we can't control our results, okay? The only thing that's going to provide the results is action. But the problem is most people can't take the proper level of action because they don't have the proper level of belief. Your belief is going to dictate the level of action that you'll take. And that level of action is going to determine the results that you make. The whole thing is it's about, you know, Gay Hendricks wrote this in a book called The Big Leap. It's about our upper limits, about our beliefs that we have that are holding us back from moving forward. It's these beliefs that we accumulate over time.
Yep.
They're called limiting beliefs because they limit our actions.
Absolutely.
And we adopt these beliefs from other people open-heartedly, when in fact, most of them don't even have any reality in our lives, but we've heard it from other people. Oh, this doesn't work. Oh, that's not possible. You're not going to achieve this. And we've heard it so many times, it's imprinted into our subconscious and it becomes our belief. And that's what limits our actions. And once we can overcome those beliefs, we can start to take new levels of action. And those new levels of action are going to deliver the results you need, you know?
Absolutely. And Tom, I'm so grateful that you joined this call today because you are an individual who took action. And you took action a while ago. And yeah. I just have one question. Was the action that you took worth it?
Oh, yes. 100-fold. I would do it. And that's the thing. It's time for me to re-engage and get back serious at it and put some other thoughts and things to the side there that happened and just move forward and go for it, you know?
I love it. I love it. And I want to talk real quick as we sort of wind this conversation down to something that Tom just brought up. And it's about our limiting beliefs and our past experiences. And if you've been following us for a little bit, you know, in Q4, we were talking about Zig Ziglar's book, Born to Win. And there's an anecdote in that book that talks about the fleas or the flea circus. And they talk about, you know, if you have fleas in a flea circus and you put them in a jar, they'll jump out of the jar. But if you put a cap on that jar and twist it down, the fleas will jump up and they'll start hitting the cap of the jar. And as soon as they hit the cap, they'll stop jumping high enough so that they don't hit the cap. And they'll just jump below the cap. And then what you can do is you can unscrew the top of the jar and take it off, and none of the fleas will jump out. And here's the reality of why this is important. It's because that past experience of hitting the ceiling made fleas decide, I can no longer jump this high. I have to jump only this high. And they will use that limiting belief no matter what. They will die in the jar with the lid off and never jump out because of that limiting belief, because of that past experience. The reality is, everybody, your past experiences are your past experiences. But the only thing that you have is the choice on how you react to them. And that's the biggest thing. If you choose to be different, if you choose to take that different path or try something else out, and do not let yourself be held back by your limiting beliefs or past experiences, wow, you're going to be amazed at how life can be different for you if you choose to just step forward in that path. So, Tom, I thank you for adding and contributing to the conversation with that. that topic, and I think it rings really true with that anecdote about
I like that.
past
like
experiences. Yeah, I mean, pretty blown away. It's like, could you imagine? I know so many people, they see a glass ceiling or a limit on what they think they can earn. You know, maybe for you it was, you know, if you're watching this, maybe it was, I'm never going to earn more than $50,000 a year, or maybe I'll never earn more than six figures in a year, or maybe I'll never earn more than $1 million. Again, these are all limiting beliefs. You can earn whatever you want to earn if you're willing to take the action and put in the work necessary to yield that result. And I think that's the biggest thing to come out of this is it takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of energy. Most of the people who are doing it have a plan in place, and they're just willing to take action on executing their plan.
Yeah. Create the right belief. Definitely.
Absolutely. Okay, well, everybody, look, this concludes our Monday sprint planning. We've got a few other calls going on this week. Obviously, this is our 1 hour for today. We call it the 5-hour work week. I mentioned it during this call, right? So you checked off one for today. Give yourself a big pat on the back. You've got 4 other calls going on. We've got Tech Tuesday at 2 p.m. Central with our master trainer, Kathy Inman. Okay, you're going to want to check that out if you're not quite sure on how to leverage any or every aspect within the technology, whether that's the tap card, whether that's the shuffle card, or anything in between. Join us tomorrow, again, 2 p.m. Central. That'll roll into Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Central for Mindset of a Champion. Again, half of it is our beliefs and our knowledge and the way we act in certain situations, right? An attitude, a moment, and a process right in the time of everything. If you don't feel like you have those skills, you need to develop those skills. Partially how to use the tools, partially the mindset of a champion. After Wednesday, it'll roll into our Thursday roundtable mastermind. That's going to be at 10 a.m., the same time as this call was, 10 a.m. Mountain Time. And I'll be hosting that. And then we'll roll into Friday with the founders, 10 a.m. Mountain Time on Friday. So you're going to want to check those out. We encourage you, invite your community to get involved. They might like what they hear. They might join you in spreading the word. And again, you'll get all of the benefits out of each and every one of these calls. Outside of these calls, what other priorities and actions have you allocated for yourself? What follow-ups do you have to do? What new people are you going to meet? Make yourself a goal and then work towards accomplishing that goal. And to Guy's point, just let that goal be your northern star. Put in the habits that are going to help you accomplish that, and then be relentlessly consistent on executing on those habits. So Guy, unless you have anything to add, we'll wind this thing down. Everybody have an amazing week. Get ready to kick off an amazing February. Maybe take an accounting of what progress you made in January so that you can improve for the month of February. And we'll see everybody on the next call tomorrow.